Picture this. You're on the tail end of a super tough Eclipse run. Your item luck has been decent, you haven't been struggling too much, and you're finally ready to beat up Mithrix. You enter the fight, it's tough, but you make it through. And then you have the escape sequence. An overwhelmingly mediocre run from the map to the escape ship, where the only enemies that are going to spawn are Void Reavers and maybe a Lunar Wisp if you're lucky. It's just so boring. My proposal is to simply up the difficulty by like 20%, maybe 15. It doesn't need to be as hard as the Mithrix fight or really as hard as the rest of the game was, but it would be nice if it were more than just a Void Reaver dodging simulator. This is just one of the many things I'd personally change about Risk of Rain 2. From game mode reworks to tiny pet peeves, I have a lot of opinions on how I'd like to change the game. I like this game, but no game is perfect, except Fireboy and Water Girl, that game was sick. I'd like to clarify that I can obviously live without these, and at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my concept changes, as well as your own ideas in the comments below. Other than that though, let's get into the video already. Number 1. A lot of these changes come from the perspective of someone who spends most of their time in the game making YouTube videos. Something this demands is the ability to quickly read item descriptions for educational reasons. And one thing I would absolutely love because of this is an option to pause when you open your inventory. Now, I know that you can pause the game and click the inventory button, but that is not the same. I want to be able to press tab, read the thing, and then immediately go back to the game. Pressing escape to pause first is 100% more button presses, and I do not have time for that. Number 2. Engineer's right-click should be agile. I want to love Engineer so much, but unfortunately his abilities feel incredibly restrictive to use. I can understand why the turrets, harpoon, and primary aren't agile, as they have some sort of alternate or charging mode, but the secondary mines, and I guess the shield as well, it doesn't really make sense to me as to why they can't be placed while you're sprinting. It's already a very fire and forget ability, so I'd like to be able to use it without awkwardly halting my movement. Again, I really don't see why we can't have this. Number 3. A smaller one here, but the amount of times I've accidentally closed this game when going to click the settings on the main menu or the quit to menu button on the pause menu is countless. Because of this, all I want to change is the addition of an "Are you sure?" button when clicking exit to desktop. I'm sure some people might find this annoying, and I probably would too, but to be honest, I'd be fully willing to waste 2 seconds clicking the "Are you sure?" pop-up than 2 minutes or more opening the game again. Number 4. In case you haven't heard, there are a couple mods for this game. For the vast majority of these mods, it's probably better that they aren't in the game. I don't think it's a stretch to say that Goku probably shouldn't be in the base game. Even for the quality of life ones, a lot of them are subjective, or they sacrifice other vanilla aspects with their change. With all that said though, I fully believe that making Propersave and CommandQueue part of the base game would be amazing. CommandQueue opens so many new ways to use command simply because it saves time. Combined with the previously mentioned pausing on inventory, I would love it if you didn't need a mod for this. Propersave is a bit more contentious, but I think that as long as you couldn't save an Eclipse or Prismatic Trials, it wouldn't be an issue. Let me come back to a game later, that's all I ask. Number 5. In a previous video, I talked about how I thought lunar items were particularly unbalanced and that they shouldn't be in Eclipse. Since then, I've refined my opinion a bit. The Bazaar Between Time is fine. The ability to use the Lunar Seers and Soups is cool, and the Void Fields is a genuinely fun challenge for those interested in it, so I really don't want to take that away. Alternatively, I want to make lunar items a much more variable thing when in Eclipse. My proposal is to make it so that going into an Eclipse run refreshes your lunar coins to 0. Don't worry, I'm not saying that entering an Eclipse run should completely wipe your coins forever. All I'm saying is that when you start an Eclipse run, for the duration of that run, you can only spend the coins that you find in that run. Since it's unrealistic to get so many coins in a single run, I think starting with like 5 coins would be fine. It could also be a dynamic thing, like starting with 10 coins minus the current Eclipse level you're on. So on E1 you'd start with 9, E5 you'd start with 5, and on E8 you would only have 2 coins to start with. This way, getting easy access to tons of the strongest items super early in the game would be unrealistic, and you'd really have to plan out when to use your coins. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this concept, because it's one that I'm really confident in, and one that I think is pretty important to talk about. Number 6. This one I'm just absolutely desperate for. I very much want more specific item synergies in the game. There is this really interesting and cool item combination with the Void Scent Flame and Hellfire Tincture in which you can proc the flame on yourself. Combos like these really flesh out the game and make for very interesting and niche builds. One item combo that I've thought of is that on top of further stacks of Stale Star giving you a chance to get another item, they could also have a small chance to activate your on-interact items when it procs again. Things like your bundles of fireworks, executive cards, and squid polyps having a chance to duplicate in their effect would be really cool to me if there were more of it in the game. Let me know what kinds of item synergies you could think of, because they're just so cool to think about. Number 7. Make Heretic selectable in the lobby already. Please. I get it. Her stats are comically higher and stronger than everyone else's, but I don't see a reason as to why we can't just nerf them a bit to change this. The way you find her is really interesting and cool, and the fact that you have to work your way up to finding the heresy items just to play her again is kind of annoying. I'm sure this could cause some issues with how the heresy items would interact with her abilities after this, but again, that's nothing that a simple number tweak can't change. We deserve to play the Bird Woman, Gearbox, so let me have this already. Number 8. Another short and simple one here. I think that this game needs just one thing to be truly perfect. That is, of course, more Grovetender. The Seekers of the Storm DLC did allow for this really interesting boss to be on a few more maps, but it's still not enough. Right now, the only maps that the Grovetender can spawn on are Scorched Acres, Viscous Falls, and Treeborn Colony. It can also spawn on the post-loop map variant of Treeborn Colony and the Prime Meridian, but I don't think that that really counts, because, like, everything can spawn on the Prime Meridian, and the map variant is still kind of the same map. Either way, I think this enemy should be used way more often, as it's really cool and engaging to fight compared to like a Beetle Queen. And, on top of that, it has a really neat boss item that I feel shouldn't be so rare. Number 9. By now, everyone knows how messy the False Sun fight can be. His attacks are too damn fast, his melee too punishing, and that goddamn laser attack that lasts 10 years while simultaneously only allowing the boss to get closer to you while you hide behind cover is so goddamn annoying. One thing I don't think I've ever seen anyone really talk about is how lame the arena is. There's almost no cover at times, and due to its nature of changing throughout the fight, the effect is even worse. So that's all I really want to change. Make there be more pillars in the fight at any single time, and make the pillars a little wider so you can actually dodge the false sun if you want to. I'd like to keep the changing arena aspect, but it doesn't need to be to the point where the cover you have is basically useless. On top of this, I think that there should always be at least one Aurelianite geode in the area at all times. The geodes are practically mandatory to beat the fight, so the fact that sometimes you'll find yourself without any geodes anywhere near you is really annoying. This could also be a dynamic thing. Make it so that there's always 2 geodes in the arena when on Drizzle, 1 geode on Rainstorm, and a chance for there to be none for a few seconds on Monsoon or Eclipse. Any way to make this fight less punishing and unnecessarily difficult would be nice, and I think that this is the best way to go about it. And finally, number 10. A more accessible seed system for runs would be really awesome. I believe, though I've never done it, that there is a way to share and create game seeds to play the same run over and over. However, this isn't exactly an accessible practice, and I think that a fully supported system of run seeds could be really fun. Maybe it would be an option on the pause menu, so you could save the seed of a run you're in if you wanted to at any time. Now, obviously, this would cause some issues with running Eclipse, but I feel like, again, just removing seeds for the Eclipse game mode is fine. The reason I want this so badly is that I could share the seeds of runs I played in videos to people who wanted the same crazy luck I sometimes get, or I could organize speedrunning events where everyone would race on the same seed to get the fastest time. I think there could be a ton of possibilities with this, so if anyone has the ability to turn this into a mod, please, I'm begging you. Anyways, that's all from me. What did you think of my ideas? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Should I be worried the next time I get into my car? Let me know about that in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. When I get to 7,500 subscribers, I'll be making an hour-long edition of the Useless Facts series. I've hidden one of my socks emotes somewhere in this video. If you're able to find it and comment its timestamp, you'll get your comment pinned. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel by going that extra mile, and thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.